can I hear myself? Okay, maybe that did it. Turn this down. Well, hello. It has been some time. Sort of. I did some streaming a couple times, but that was like from the Xbox, and I was that's distracting. Every time I click on it, the song changes. Anyway, it's been some time since I've streamed, and I was actually on, but I don't expect a lot of people to chime in as usual, but it'll be recorded and posted on YouTube. But I kind of wanted to, I'm just going to jump into it. And if anyone doesn't catch up now, that's fine. But losing my train of thought here. It'll be recorded. The VOD will be on YouTube, and it'll be on Twitch for like 30 days. But I kind of wanted to talk about CRONOS, the new Dawn. I'm gonna go to this main page here. You guys can't see it yet, but I just finished the game. Is the sound still playing? Oh, it's just... Okay. I just finished the game, and I really like it. As a Dead Space fan, it was really fun, because that's kind of... A lot of people who were sold on this immediately, they're Dead Space fans. And that's what we want. That's what we're looking for. And this game sells itself to a lot of like survival horror fans and Dead Space fans specifically, but also being its own thing. I'm gonna turn this down for myself here. It's a little distracting. What was I getting at? But so the game, so for those who aren't aware, CRONOS the New Dawn, it's a new survival horror game that just came out like a week ago on the 5th. I pre-ordered the deluxe edition, the digital deluxe edition, so I was able to play it on the 3rd. And I just beat it last night. Obviously, I wasn't playing it like all the way through in one session. But it was a good, like, roughly 15-hour playthrough for me. Because it even gives you like a ranking at the end of like how you did, how long you played, and what you've collected, so on and so forth. Which isn't anything new, but that's just how I know. I played roughly like 15 hours worth. But I had my initial issues with the game aren't even with the game itself. They're with the release of the game. And what I mean by that is, how do I say this? So the game, if you look it up, the game came out on the 5th. And Digital Deluxe Edition was on the 3rd, or 48 hours prior. But I would be willing to bet that any of you guys who were looking forward to this game, one, you guys probably almost exclusively bought it digitally, and a lot of people seem to have bought it on PC, which, being an Unreal Engine 5 game, seems like a kind of a poor move, but I know there's a lot of people who exclusively play on PC, so that's no fault to them. But you probably didn't know that this game had an exclusive physical release, and meaning PlayStation got a physical release for this game. Xbox didn't get a physical release, but they have access to the game, which you should know. It was shown at Xbox Showcase, and it says it's for all platforms. Bloober Team even suggested that if you play the game, they suggest playing it on Xbox Series X, which shows. I think just consistently it plays the best on Xbox Series X and PS5 Pro, with some jitters on the base PS5, and then like low texture resolution on Series S. And then obviously depending on what kind of PC you have, you probably got variable performances and stuff like that. I'm sorry if you were hearing double that whole time. I just realized my stream manager wasn't muted. What else was I saying? Oh, so yeah, so its only physical release is on PlayStation. Also, it's a week late. They're not physically releasing the game until the 19th, which was not stated at all. I just talked about this. Brandon and I just recorded a podcast episode, but yeah, it's different from Alan Wake too, because Alan Wake, they said like it's only going to be a digitally released game, and there will be a physical release probably like a few months to a year later. But this game, they didn't say anything like that. They just said that the game was coming out on the 5th and that you could get early access with the digital deluxe edition. So there was no word that on the 19th only PlayStation would be getting a physical release. I don't know if that's going to change sometime later or what, but it just felt really weird, especially because Brandon pre-ordered it for the PlayStation 5, and so he won't be able to play it until later unless he decided to cancel his pre-order and just buy it digitally now. I just find that all really weird. Anyway, with all that being said, the game is great. It's a solid survival horror game, as like Game Informer called it. I do have some notes about the reviews to this game. Here, I'll zoom myself out here so you guys can, because this is kind of what we're going to be going through today. But so Game Informer, Luke Stevens, and a few other people made some really weird notes about this game. Some of them being like, it's weird to have a protagonist that their face is covered throughout the entirety of the game because they have to do like physical acting and stuff, which seems odd because like have you heard of Master Chief before? Or so many other characters that don't show their faces. I just found that rather odd. I would agree that the ending of the game doesn't have like a giant or like super emotionally driven ending, nor is it all that interesting. There was a cool boss fight and very creative boss fight at the ending of the game that I thought was fun. it does play a lot like Dead Space. It even has a swing and a stomp that a lot of Dead Space fans are familiar with. Essentially, the best way I can describe this game is that this game did what the Callisto Protocol couldn't do in making its own world, its own story, but using its inspirations like Dead Space, Silent Hill 2, Resident Evil, wearing it on its sleeve and still coming up with something completely original and new, which I think was great. But I do plan on coming out with maybe like a ramble video of me kind of just walking through all of my notes about this game so far. But what we're really here for today is this. This is the bonus content that came with the digital deluxe edition of Chronos: The New Dawn. It's an art book and the soundtrack. You guys should vaguely be able to hear it right now. It might be a little quiet, but I do have the soundtrack playing in the background right now. But I just kind of wanted to go through the art book, chat about it. If you haven't played the game, I don't know if it's going to have any spoiler related stuff to it. And I'll try to, if I do notice something that might be a little spoilery, I'll try to skip through it, but it shouldn't. And I just kind of wanted to see, like, visually how their ideas developed and stuff, because I do think there's some really interesting motifs and conceptual designs with this game. I mean, the traveler themselves, you know, they're a time traveler, but they're in like a diving suit, which is interesting because, I mean, it shows. They got the big dome-shaped helmet and they're very heavy and clunky, but it works. And I like the whole point of like a dive is they dive into the past or the future or what have you. So I just kind of want to see how that evolved and developed in a visual sense and how it came to the game that we know it now. Yeah. And again, I am doing this live, but for anyone who's interested or maybe is watching this later, it's going to be on YouTube as a VOD. It's just on my main channel. I'll have it as a VOD there, and then it'll be on Twitch for like 30 days. But it's always accessible on the YouTube channel. With that being said, I'd say let's just do this. You know? Let's just get into it. Ooh. Traveler tech, environment, monsters, and characters. Okay. I think the traveler tech is kind of like this is like what we're really here for, so I kind of want to wait on that. Characters. Where do we start? How about this? Let's go into the environments for a little bit, just like as a warm-up. And if I feel like moving on, maybe we'll go on to monsters next. Thoughts? Concerns? All right, let's do it. World of Chronos. Does this just... So, for those who don't know, this game takes place in Poland. I don't know what the city's name is. It's a real city, or sort of. It's based on a real city, but in the game, like, as the outbreak was happening and the world was coming to an end, this city is referred to as New Dawn, hence the name of the game. But it's very inspired by, like, you know, the real Polish lifestyle and stuff I mean, the game was made in Poland. Bloober Team's a Polish company, but it really feels like you're in Poland for the most part. Like when you're walking around, you'll see signage and posters and stuff, and they're all in Polish. The biggest, and like if you aim your camera at something, it'll like live translate it for you, so you can actually see what the world is telling you and like the life that had lived there prior. I do wish that, like, for all of the characters that were living in the city that you interact with or that you hear audio logs from and stuff, that they actually had like a Polish accent or something that resembled a Polish accent. Everyone has like an American accent in the game, with the exception of one. And I think that's okay for like the traveler, maybe, or characters that don't need to be Polish. But I feel like it was just one little touch that could have been added to make it feel more lived in and more real, by like the actual Polish citizens and characters having like a Polish accent. The closest they got is that all the names were pronounced the way that Polish people pronounce them. Like instead of David, it's David, or instead of Veronica, it's Veronica, stuff like that. Anyway, we'll go on to the next. So it looks like, ooh. Okay. This is something from like the opening sequence of the game. I didn't even realize it was this. I'd have to replay the game again, because you actually have the option to like walk through this. I didn't realize there's a face on it this whole time though. Weird. Okay. Interesting. Looks like more opening sequence stuff. I do have to say, level design, set dressing, character design, all of that stuff was really interesting. And this game almost doesn't even look like Unreal Engine 5. I would argue this game, with the exception of a couple others, is like one of the most creative uses for Unreal Engine 5. The only thing that really makes it look like the engine is the human characters and like their motion and performance capture. That's like the only time that it really looks like Unreal Engine 5, but this game is like really good looking. Like remarkably good looking. Yeah, see? This is how it's like across the game. All of the posters, all the signage, all that stuff. It's all in Polish. This is supposed to kind of show you that, like, there are some scenes that you time travel through. Hey, Kenzie. Just to let you know what we're doing right now. There's a game, CRONOS: The New Dawn, that just came out like a week ago. I just beat it. I'm kind of going through like my thoughts of the game. And I also got the soundtrack and Artbook for it. So we're going through the Artbook right now. We just started. We're going through the environments right now. The full version of this will be on YouTube later as a VOD, and it'll be on Twitch too. But that's just kind of what we're doing right now. So, yeah. I'm not sure how. I just saw your comment, so I don't know how long you've been here, but this is kind of like showing that you can time travel through different scenes and stuff, and how you can kind of see before and after of some sceneries. And it's probably really quiet, but you could probably hear the soundtrack in the background right now. How long did it take to beat the game? I think it said at the end of my playthrough that it took me like 15 hours to beat. I was like a completionist, so I was trying to make sure to find like all of the secrets, or at least as much as I could. Um, but yeah, it was like a little over 15 hours. Allegedly, you get like the quote unquote real ending if you play New Game Plus. So I'm gonna hop on to Hell Is Us because that came out too. I'm gonna play through that, and I'll probably go back and replay Chronos. Also, it's just really fun. So, oh, there's all kinds of stuff going on right now. Why is it going through so fast? This is cool. I mean, a lot of this stuff is very does a good job. It's like, or it's very close to what ended up being in the final result of the game, which is interesting to see. I'm assuming when we get into like character designs and stuff that we'll see more variety, but so far a lot of this is like really close to the final result. All of this stuff is in the game. It's like letters and stuff of children and people you can find before or when the outbreak happened. This is interesting because there's a whole sequence in the game where you find like all these drawings on the wall, but it tells like an interesting story of like them interacting with the traveler. It's pretty interesting. And so far, none of this is like actually none of this is really spoiler heavy, and I'll try not to get into spoilers. So if I see anything that is spoiler related, I'll skip through it. This is I mean, this isn't even concept art. This is in the game, but it was cool to see some stuff like this in the game too. They did a really good, I'd say they did just as good as Dead Space does with like environmental storytelling and stuff. You can pick up a lot just by like really observing a scene. It's pretty interesting. So these things, they were called oddities, or like time oddities, and when you interact with them, you could like resculpt or like reconstruct parts of the environment. So like, let's say if there's a bridge that's like shattered and floating up in the air, you can like reconstruct it to walk over. Or there was like some platforms you can walk onto. You interact with the oddity and it'll like work as an elevator. It's pretty interesting. I really like the way that they implemented like time travel into the actual gameplay. I mean, obviously this is all super painterly looking and stuff, but I mean, this is a pretty good testament to like how interesting and how good the final game actually looks. There's some really interesting scenery to see in this game. Whoa. It's hard to hover over it without the arrow getting in the way, but this is new. This wasn't in the game. It looks like maybe they had concepts for you to like carry generators around with you. If that's something they could figure out for like a sequel, that'd be cool. It looks like the concept version of the character was a lot slimmer than the final result, which I think is a good thing. I like the clunky, heavy set suit that the Traveler wears. I don't know if you guys can hear the soundtrack very well. I turned it down so that it wasn't like overpowering me. But the soundtrack to this game, 10 out of 10. It goes back and forth between like really ambient, like choir type, like horror soundtrack to very retro 80s like synth soundtracks. Oh, it's so good. This looks a lot like the if anyone who remembers like the trailer, like the original trailer to this game, like after it gets out of the main cinematic and it goes into a little bit of gameplay. That's probably what this is. They probably really liked how that looked and had a part in the game that resembled it. This is pretty reminiscent to how all of the merged flesh looks all over the walls. It's very gray here, but in the final game, a lot of this is red. When it's gray and like beige like this, it kind of looks like Callisto Protocol. But there is this, like these red lights, there's kind of an interesting motif that's throughout the game of like other travelers that have traveled through this like broken timeline like before you, and kind of leaving tech over and pathways for you to cross. So it doesn't seem like things are just randomly thrown in. It makes a lot of sense that like why the landscape looks the way that it does. Sorry, got people blowing up my phone. All right, sorry. Just in case anyone's paying attention, you guys can hear me okay, right? And can you hear the music? I think we've got a pretty good idea of the environments right now. So I think let's move on to monsters. Why not? So they're called orphans in the game. I don't know why. It's kind of cool. I mean, I like it. If there's any particular reason in the game, I missed it. But they're called orphans in the game. I do have one major gripe about the orphans. There was a good amount of variety in terms of like enemy types. My problem is that each enemy type only had like one design. One enemy type maybe had like two. But each enemy type, every single one in that like category looked identical to each other. And not even that, but across the board, they all had like the same mutation, where like the left arm would be this giant tendril thing, and then the right arm would be normal sized. But they were all almost identical. One thing I wish that they spent a little bit of time on is that every enemy type had like 4 or more variations, just so that it looked like you were visually looking at a wider range of enemy types, or just enemies in general. That's just me though. Didn't really take away from my thoughts about like the game or anything. This one's pretty reminiscent on the left here of the like runner type. There's one that charges at you pretty fast. See, you do see this a lot. You'll see like this is the most amount of variation they really get, is you'll see some have like more armor, or like they'll be more evolved. But like at first glance, they all still look too similar to each other. Like looking at them side by side is one thing, but when you're playing the game, like this one doesn't look that different from this one, or like this one doesn't look that different from this one. What this is depicting is an interesting thing, though. The whole selling point about these enemies is, so like in Dead Space, it was cut off their limbs. You shoot at their limbs so that they fall down, because doing headshots won't kill them. In Callisto Protocol, it was shoot the tentacles, because if you don't shoot the tentacles, it'll like self-evolve. While in this game, it's don't let them merge. And when you see tendrils wrap around a body, whether they're walking or not, one of these could easily walk up to a dead one of these, absorb it, and then become a stronger, like upgraded one. And then it can do it multiple times too. I'd honestly say if you interact with an orphan, it absorbs someone twice, you're done for. It would be really tough to put it down. And there's even like a merging of like abilities too. So like if this absorbs one that spits acid, it'll grow more arms and spit acid at you. Stuff like that. And same thing applies to like all the different variations. If it's like a one that charges at you and absorbs an acid one, same thing. It can like drag acid along or something like that. I would have liked to see more like bestial creatures. There's like 2 in the whole game that kind of vary from the bipedal type, I guess. But this one's not in the game. That one would have been cool. I really like... See, Dead Space does this thing where the necromorphs, like their body... Hey... Is that a Lyra? A Lyra Shade? I'm good. We're just looking at the Artbook and listening to the soundtrack of CRONOS: The New Dawn. And I'm kind of going over some of my thoughts of the game as we go through it. You haven't missed a whole bunch, but in case there's any notes that I've made already, then there will be a VOD on my YouTube channel. And it'll be on Twitch for like 30 days. Yeah, see, I wish we saw more like this in the game. But what I was getting at is that the cool distinguishing like visual motif between these and the necromorphs is that necromorphs, like when the person dies, the body kind of like rebuilds itself and its body parts will like reuse themselves to do different things, while the orphans in this game, they merge and they grow new tissue, and you'll see like more body parts and just new types of organs that you wouldn't see elsewhere. How's the stream going so far? It's pretty good. I mean, my streams are usually pretty low key. It's, you know, we haven't been doing much. Just gonna go through this and chat a little bit, and that'll pretty much be it. If it takes me only, I don't know, maybe another hour, probably. Nothing crazy. Doppelganger. It's a little quiet. What's a little quiet? I'm a little quiet, or the music? If you're talking about the music, yeah, I didn't want it to like overpower me at all. I wonder if this doppelganger turned into anything in the final game, because this doesn't look familiar. Neither does this one at the end. That's cool. Do I stream daily? No. I kind of just stream when I can or when I feel like it. If I stream from here, you'll see more and hear more of me, but every now and then when I'm like playing on my Xbox, I'll just like press the stream button and I'll just let the game play out as it does, and you probably won't hear me. I kind of just stream when and how I can. Yeah. Brandon, I didn't get clarification on what was quiet, but yeah, the music's supposed to be a little quiet. I'm assuming this design was supposed to kind of be like the leaper from Dead Space. It's kind of what this is giving off. I could be wrong. There is something kind of similar to the leaper in terms of something that you interact with during like 0G segments, but it's pretty different. It's more of like a long-ranged thing than a up-close thing. What games do I play? Lately, I just finished CRONOS, The New Dawn. On stream, I normally try to play smaller stuff. I did stream Lords of the Fallen recently, and I also streamed Outlast. But I like to play a whole range of stuff. I don't do like competitive multiplayer stuff on stream, if that's what you're getting at. It'll be a lot of like narrative, probably like single focus stuff, and if it is multiplayer, it'll be like something I'm playing with people, not against people. I'm assuming a lot of these are very early stage. Ooh, this one's got like a bunch of eyeballs on it. That would have been cool. I'm assuming a lot of these are kind of earlier staged because the visual like language is very different. This would have been cool. It's not in the final game, but that would be sick. I'm hoping that some of this stuff that didn't make it into the final game we'll see more of if they make a sequel. Hopefully they do. Yeah, whoa. I'm assuming they had a whole plan for this thing. It's got a whole evolution chain. This one's cool. I like the mouth open. It is kind of reminiscent. Sorry, I wasn't caught up. I came in late. Caught up now. Oh. I'm not sure if... Okay. Okay, so now we're on to characters. So I did skip the do you prefer chill streams or high energy ones? Chill. I mean, depending on what I'm playing, like when we were playing Outlast, it can get really energetic. But it's not usually intentional. I'm usually pretty laid back, whether I'm playing games or just chatting. For anyone who wasn't here for it, I did skip. There was a page that was designated to Traveler and the Traveler Tech. I skipped that because I figured that would be like the most main, or like the most interesting thing. So I was saving it for last. So we did environments, we went through monsters or orphans, and now we're on to characters. And then after this, we'll go on to the Traveler Tech. This was like a pretty important character in the game. It looks like they were pretty dead set on a look for her. Yeah, same with this character. Because these are almost identical to custom stuff for my channel. Yes, but I also don't stream enough to care about that kind of stuff. And the custom stuff that I do have already is kind of all that I'm really fixated on. All right there. Hope all is well. Well, thank you. Hope all is well to you too. Welcome, welcome. I said this just a little bit ago, but for anyone who might just be hopping in, this will be a VOD on the main YouTube channel, or not main YouTube channel, on the YouTube channel, and it'll be on Twitch for like 30 days after this. So if you missed anything, you can always go rewatch and catch up. But I just beat CRONOS, so we're going through the Artbook and listening to the soundtrack while I share some thoughts and stuff. I won't be doing anything spoiler related, or at least I'll try to avoid that. We're going through characters right now, and after characters we're going to be doing Traveler Tech. So and again, all of this stuff, even this, like this little frame right here, this was used in the game. So it looks like they had a pretty good idea of the characters that they wanted, or what they wanted them to look like. Because, yeah, it doesn't look like they did a whole lot of variety or different concepts of characters. Yep, these two were in the game. Oh, these are new. I don't think these were in the game. My brother was tagging along, or he was kind of hanging out while I played through a particular segment of the game. I won't get into details, but there is a section of the game where you explore an abbey, and it has like a Polish/Russian Orthodox Catholic feel to it, and it is like it's my most favorite section in the game, visually and gameplay wise. But sorry, this character popped up and made me think of that. It is a little later, so whoa. Whoa. Is this... So there's a character that's like in the trailers called the Warden, who's another traveler who's kind of like cybernetic, but it looks like they had plans for him to be way more cybernetic, because unless that's like some kind of complicated helmet, that's super different. I'll go back. I'm particularly fond of this one right here with these like kind of like gill lights on it. I think it does a good idea pushing like that diver feel, but I also kind of like that halo. These are interesting. We're not even in the Traveler Tech yet either, so I guess, yeah. Yeah, see, this is pretty much what he looks like in the game. This one's a little bit more exaggerated. He's a bit more toned down in the game, but he's got like the big fur cape. He's got like the mechanical arm. He limps around a lot because it's not like a super sturdy leg. But yeah, this is I kind of like this though. I really like the silhouette of like that big dome oval shape at the top. But I do like the end result. Ta-da! All right, Traveler Tech. We got through that a little faster than I thought we would. I appreciate it. And I mean, you can leave your information if you want, but I too am an artist, Elira, and I do a lot of my own stuff, and I think I have a link to my art page, but I pretty much have anything in that regard that I need covered, but I appreciate it. But feel free to leave your like handle in the comments or something. This is the Traveler. I mentioned this when I first opened this up today, that Game Informer, one of their critiques was that the character was a masked character throughout the entirety of the game, and it made it seem cartoonish and weird because they had to do physical acting. Hello? Master Chief much? There are so many characters who you don't see their face, and I don't think there's any problem with that. And I think it, and especially playing the game, there is one little plot point that has to do with that would kind of be ruined if they didn't have... This is a girl, or a woman, by the way. You're playing as a female traveler. Not that that's important, but I guess that threw some people off guard. But yeah, you don't see her face for the entirety of the game, and I think that's fine. I think it makes her seem more mysterious and interesting. And it also kind of does like the whole Spider-Man like self-insert thing, because not only does that make opportunity for you to play as like other characters later on, but you can kind of like put yourself in the situation. You don't have to get emotionally attached to this character, and you're not like going on the journey with this character. Like, you are this character. I think it's better that way. Whoa. That's different. Actually, that's not super different. I think there's another traveler that you find, a dead one, that actually wears this or something similar to it, because this helmet looks familiar. But you will see that, like, there are, like, they don't all just look like this. All the travelers are a little unique, whether it's like their helmet or the layout of their suit's a little different, but they don't wear like copy and paste suits. This is probably what we were seeing earlier in like the environment stuff. This looks a little slimmer. I don't like how slim that is though. I like the bulkier look. Also, this just looks like tubes. And it'd be really uninteresting if everything was happening in the front when you were looking at the back of the character the whole time. That'd be kind of dumb. This is cool. I mean, again, this does kind of combat what I just said, but this would be like an interesting skin to have. I do like this helmet a lot. I don't know what's going on right here. I think this is the anchor. There's a... We probably haven't seen it yet. No, we haven't. But there's a device called the anchor that she uses to... Ooh. That's cool. I really like this. Like the kind of cloak that goes over it. I don't know why they didn't do that in the game. See, I would like more skins. There's the 2 you get if you pre-order the digital deluxe edition of the game, which is like one's blue and one's yellow. There's the pre-order bonus one, which is kind of like a muddied up suit that's got a few different markings on it. And then there is one you get when you beat the game that I won't go into. But I would have liked something that I wish they did pull from Dead Space a little bit is just a more variety of suits. Maybe if they make a sequel, we'll see that. But I feel like replayability would have been a big thing with like a larger array of suits to wear. I would love to have something like that, especially in this game. Also, I'm kind of a sucker for like cloaks and ponchos and stuff like that. So I forgot what this thing is called. This is very different. And so is this one. But this is like a specific gadget that she uses that I can't say what it is without spoiling the game. But it is a very important plot thread related gadget that she wears, that all travelers wear. But this is interesting. I mean, this is pretty close to right here. But the ending result's a lot like the one in the trailer where it kind of just looks like 5 fingers. I don't like this one. This one just looks too... This one kind of looks like a big taser. I don't really care for that. This is kind of... The old-fashioned traveler equipment ideas. Whoa, so this is like original concept for it. Oh, someone died. I kind of like this though. I like that red helmet. Again, not for like the main design, but that would have been like a cool skin. I like the contrast of like the cool grays and then that red helmet. I don't know what these vials would have been for. Carrying vessel. Oh. Okay. So it looks like that gadget, they pretty much had it in mind. Day one. It looks like this sand glass motif was like supposed to be their original symbol. That's not what they landed on. They ended up landing on... I don't know if you probably can't see it. It's closer to this right here. It's kind of like a symmetrical cross with like 2 additional lines on it. Someone just dies. He says casually. I couldn't ignore the loud ass ambulance that just went by. Ooh, this is like super... that looks like an astronaut. This looks interesting. That would have been cool. I know I keep comparing it to Dead Space, but like, come on. In Dead Space, there is the vintage suit, which it would have been kind of cool if maybe there was a nod to that where they did like an actual... something that looked closer to a diver suit. And that, you know, maybe they called it like the... I don't know what they would call it, but something along the lines of vintage or like Mark 1 or something like that. Ooh. I was thinking about this when I was beating the game. Something I would really like to see in a sequel is an entire region that you play underwater. Right? Right? That'd be sick. Whoa! I want it. Take my money. I want this. I mean, I like the final result, but again, skins, DLC, something. I want this. That would be dope. BioShock nod, maybe. Oh, yeah, like a Big Daddy reference or something. Oh, I have a super minute complaint, and I just thought about it when I saw the little torch light on the shoulder. Again, it's super little. It doesn't even matter. But in the game, so their thing to kind of combat a flashlight, or in Dead Space, like you can kind of see a light emanating from the gun or his mask. In this game, there's this little torch light that sits on her shoulder the entire game, and whenever you turn the camera, it moves, and it's like on this little swiveling arm thing. But the problem is that if it only sits on one shoulder, and if you turn to where it aims at her head, the light goes through her head. Not like intentionally, it just goes through her head. And I thought like it could have, whoever designed the animation for it could have spent like, I don't know, maybe a couple more hours to make it to where when it reached a certain point, it would go up and over her head. It's just a thought. Maybe I'm comparing it too much to like in Death Stranding, there's the Ultra deck, and same thing, when you turn the flashlight onto it, it moves accordingly. But we can't compare it to a Kojima game. There's too much thought put into a Kojima game. I like the alien-esque look that this has, but this is starting to look too astronaut-y and like spaceman looking. Whilst I think they were trying to deviate from that with this game. They were trying to make it look more diver, like you're diving into time kind of thing. But it's interesting. Retro heavy suit gear. Like if they could do this but somehow make it look more diver looking, that's kind of what I was talking about with like a retro suit. That'd be kind of cool. This is what I was talking about before. This is the anchor. Now, it doesn't spoil anything, but like this is what they do when they get to like a particular objective and they found like a breach in time. You put an anchor down, and it does what an anchor does. It keeps them tied and grounded to that particular point. So when they travel through a time breach, they have something to pull them back, or like to come back to. And that's what the anchor does. But see, diver motifs. I love it. It's really... Ooh, that wasn't in the game. These are more so something you see in like the environment, but that wouldn't be a bad touch. Like it doesn't have to illuminate anything, but just for like a little bit of character variety or flair, wouldn't be too bad. I like it that right as I was trying to like think about what these guns looked like, the song that came on was called "What Do You See?" But these are interesting because this actually comes up to another nitpick that I had about the game, and it's that the weapons... So in the lore of the game, the outbreak happened in the 80s, so that's why all of the sounds and the designs and stuff look like they were evolved from the 80s. But I did think that some of the tech that the Traveler had looked too much like you just put tech on top of like a gun. And I wish it looked like the guns themselves were more... They looked like they were more advanced than that. I don't really like the tubing on the gun, because it kind of... Like, that kind of just looks like intestines, you know? Which I don't really care for, because you don't want them to look like the same thing that their enemies are. But it's in the same direction of, like, designing and, like, developing original tech that the guns could have been based on. See, this is the final result of the gun. Like, this kind of just looks like a pistol right here with, like, a weird barrel. And this barrel does, like, retract and turn into a different weapon, kind of like in Control. A part of me really likes it because I do like the implementation of, like, the wooden stock. But, like, this right here just looks too normal. I don't know. Maybe that's the point, and I'm just bitching. But there was So another thing that GameStop and not GameStop, Game Informer and who's the other reviewer? There was another reviewer that said that there was some puzzles and tech that were thrown into the game that seemed too gimmicky, like they were just thrown in there just to use it or to like reference other games. Though I don't want to say what they are because like it's something that you should kind of experience for yourself. But I feel like they were focused on the wrong tech because there's parts of the game like where you pick up this little thing that goes on the side of your gun and it tells you the health status of an enemy that you're pointing the weapon at, which I thought was interesting, but as soon as I put it on the gun, I almost completely forgot it was there. I don't think I ever looked at it once, because after you upgrade your stuff and you get a feel for like the different enemy variations, you kind of figure that out yourself. You kind of learn how many shots it takes to take down each enemy or how to take down each enemy. Their life status almost comes to no interest. Maybe the boss fights, now that I think of it, that would have been a little bit more helpful, but even then, I don't think I ever referenced this thing. It's on your gun. Like, once you put it on there, it's on your gun for the rest of the game. But, I'm pretty sure I, like, almost forgot it completely. Oh, okay. One thing that they definitely should have learned from Dead Space, and it really got under my skin, was there are more than just 2 weapons in the game. There's actually quite a few, and you can choose which ones you take with you and how much space they take up, but you have to be kind of careful because each weapon takes up an inventory slot. But in Dead Space, if you have weapons in your current inventory or even like selected in your D-pad, then when you pick up ammo, you'll pick up ammo for what's in your inventory. But if you put the weapon like in storage, you stop seeing ammo pop up like throughout the world. And in this game, that's not the case. Like in this game, they just randomly throw out ammo whether you're carrying the gun or not. And sometimes that can get really annoying because like maybe you're like in the middle of a fight sequence and you pick up ammo to a weapon that you're not using or that you don't even have, and you know it's also taking up inventory space. So I do hope that's something they could fix like now, and I think they should fix that. But yeah, it's just that got a little annoying. I like this. The shotgun, I'd say, looks closer to this one at the top. By the like in the final version of the game, but I like this elongated barrel right here. That looks kind of cool. This gun, what's it called? It's called like the something rail. I thought this gun was going to end up being like a sniper type gun, which wouldn't do you any good in a game like this, which is like everything is exclusively close quarters combat. But it ended up being it's like an explosive gun. Like you shoot one single round and it embeds itself into something and not only blows up the enemy but makes like this concussive explosion around it. Really cool. You almost never pick up ammo for it, but when you do, it's cool. So another mechanic that this game does a little differently, because like in Dead Space, Callisto Protocol, almost any game, like you're vulnerable to fire, in this game, you're like completely fireproof, and you're even like safe from like explosive barrels and stuff. Because the whole point is your character has like this torch, and in order to stop enemies from merging with each other, you have to burn corpses, and every now and then you'll like burn stuff in your environment. But it's a pretty new spin to like the survival horror. I think they did something like this in Resident Evil 4, but that's like for a segment of the game, if I remember correctly. This is like an entire game mechanic. That's like what this character is based around, which is interesting. Oh yeah, so this is just like their answer to like Isaac swinging his weapon at enemies or stomping on people. Like the Traveler has like a designated, the pistol will like retract in and turn into like this brass knuckle thing. It's in the trailer, but it's pretty sick. Whoa. I'm trying to remember if they did this, because this is in the game. It's called a pyre. It's like a explosive IEM. What am I thinking of? But it's like a landmine of sorts. But I'm trying to remember if they put it on the gauntlet or not. They might have. Oh, they did. Yeah, all of this stuff. Okay, yeah. It's just when you're actually seeing it, looks a little different. I'm assuming these are all the different variations of it. Yeah, there's no actual grenades in this game, which is weird. Looks like that's what they were trying to do here. Because the closest thing you get is the pyre, which I think is good, because like on the whole note of, you know, super aggressive like inventory scarcity, and you know, you have to be really resourceful with your ammo and stuff. It's good that they didn't just give you any type of weapon to throw at the enemy. So I'm glad that they didn't do grenades. Or even like a grenade launcher. I think that would have been too overpowered for this game. If there was a way that like they did a sequel and maybe there was an enemy type, or there was just more enemies where like crowd control would have to be implemented, that'd be okay. But like that one rifle I was talking about and the pyre, it's pretty much all you need. And then they already throw like red barrels and stuff everywhere. Oh, similar to like Dead Space or a lot of survival horror, you'll see like these stations left over by other travelers, and they'll have like ammo or resources in there for you. Or sometimes they'll have what's called a core, which is kind of like their equivalent to Dead Space's node, which is like for upgrades and stuff. And then this is like your chest. So whenever you go to a safe room, you have your chest that like holds all of your stored items like across the game. This is your upgrade terminal, and it works identical to Dead Space terminal. The only difference is you can't change suits here. You have to change suits in the main menu. You have your save station. Sorry. This is just referencing like a particular type of like puzzle obstacle type thing where you have to find like energy outlets and cores for this, so that circuit breakers, that's what I'm thinking of. This is an anchor again. This is like a little, it kind of looks like a record player, which is fun, but this is like where you hear audio logs from previous travelers in the game. This is your terminal. This is the, or sometimes they refer to it as a Lazarus. But this is what the, not when you dive, but this is like what the traveler uses to actually like go from destination to destination. So when she lands in Poland or in New Dawn, she lands in Lazarus. 38 or something like that. But that's what this is. Kind of like a, what's the diving chamber thing called? I'll have to look that up. But that's essentially what this is. Whoa. This is, I mean, that's cool, but it's too much. It needs to be something, you know, that can move. I kind of like this, but this looks too, dive pod. Thank you. Duh. I think this one looks too alien. It's cool, but, and it also looks too much like their helmet. I like the one that they landed on. It's a good choice. Oh yeah, in the beginning of the game, it's not spoiling anything, and I won't go into details, but there is a Rorschach test that you have to take. It's kind of cool. And it looks like that's pretty much it. We just went through the whole thing. I'm gonna take this out. Ugh. Final thoughts? Final thoughts, anyone? Sorry, I'm just closing out of this. Gonna listen to where's the traveler? Traveler. Really? Okay. Anyways. Legitness. I know that wasn't a crazy long stream, right? We were only here for, been here for almost an hour and a half. Yeah, just chill little thing. I plan on doing kind of like a small ramble video with like all of my thoughts of the game, kind of like listed out, and hopefully a little bit more thorough than this. I have some ideas of like what they could do for a sequel if they wanted to do a sequel, because the way this game ends, maybe it'll be different if I get like the true ending with New Game Plus, but this game doesn't really end in a way to where it could have a direct sequel, but there is there's definitely opportunity for there to be more to be explored in this universe, and I'll probably go through those ideas in the ramble video. But essentially, long story short, I think there's a really good opportunity to do just another game, different situation, similar premise, a new traveler, maybe one that's a little bit more self-insert than this one, because this one kind of has like a specific arc to them, but either way, that's not a huge problem. But I really hope they come back to this soon. I know they're working on the first Silent Hill game, or they're going to be doing a remake for the first Silent Hill game, which we probably won't see that for at least, I don't know, a year and a half. Like to see a trailer maybe. But I do hope that we see more of this game soon. I don't want it to just die off like Dead Space. I don't think it will. I think people have been asking for too much Dead Space, and if these people are able to self-publish their own game, then that's definitely not going to happen, as long as they have like a strong idea for the next game. I just realized that my YouTube stream says that we're playing Dispatch. We're not playing Dispatch. We might play the demo another day, but not today. Yeah, anyone who's like sitting here, any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns? This isn't like the most groundbreaking game this year, but I'll tell you right now, this is my game of the year. I thought Death Stranding was going to be. Not even close. There are a couple other smaller games that that I was really into, and I'm not saying that this is the game of the year. I know for a fact Expedition 33 is going to get Game of the Year. There's just no question about it. And if it doesn't, it's rigged. Something is wrong. I'm just saying my personal opinion, my Game of the Year is CRONOS: The New Dawn. By far. And I definitely recommend this game. But I say that with a caveat. If you're going to play this game, play it on Xbox, preferably Series X. Actually, just play it on console. If you're playing on PC, you need way too high end of a PC to play the game and get like decent frame rates. I've even seen people have to throw in like particular like plugins and stuff so that it gets decent frame rate. It's not the game's problem, it's Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine 5 just is not very accessible right now unless you're playing on a console. And even then, Bloober Team themselves suggested that if you're going to play this game, to play it on Series X. That's where I played it. PS5, and then the best numbers so far are kind of like back and forth between Series X and PlayStation 5 Pro. So if you have them, I would recommend play it on console. And plus, you get a more cinematic experience that way anyway. Like, I understand all of the selling points of PC gaming, but like if you want to get this game and experience it the way it's intended, play it on console. Play it on your TV. Wear headphones. Yeah. But it's a strong recommendation, especially if you're into survival horror, if you're into sci-fi, cosmic horror, any of that stuff. I will say it's not... I would say Dead Space is pretty tame on like accessibility because the difficulty ranges a lot more. This game is pretty ruthless in terms of like scarcity and ammo resources and stuff. So be prepared for that if you do play this game. But it doesn't really have like balancing issues. It's really just like the game does what it sells itself to do. But if you're okay with all those points, play this game. Play this game. Highly recommend. Also, and I'm normally a physical media advocate, just get it digital. Because that way you can play it right now. And if you want to play physical, then you have to resort to PlayStation for some reason. Again, I don't know why that's... I already rambled about that. But yeah, just buy digital. Whichever platform you're on. And yeah. I think I'm gonna call it. It wasn't a very long stream. And Elira, I don't think you're still here, but if this answered any of your questions, I usually stream pretty laid back. It's very rare I get too energetic on these things. But anyone who's watching, hope you enjoyed. Like I said, I will have like a ramble type video about this probably sooner than later. And I am working on like a bigger in-depth video. I'm just procrastinating on part of the recording process because I hate sitting in front of a camera with a script that's really long. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. Go check out the YouTube channel. Go check out the podcast. Brandon and I just recorded an episode, so go get caught up with that, and we'll be posting an episode probably this Thursday, which is the 18th. The 18th. So the day before the physical version of CRONOS comes out. So yeah, with that being said, hope you all have an amazing day. It's pretty much evening for everyone right now. It's already 5 here. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.